Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Brittnee. Today I'm going to be showing you a bunch of edible gold paints. A couple of weeks ago, I hunted online for hours to see if I could find the best edible metallic paints. I found about 20 that looked promising and I wrote them each down, and then I researched them individually to see if they were actually edible. I read all the reviews, I looked at the pictures on their website versus the review pictures, see if they matched, and then decided if they were worth buying. I mean, I really got into this. I made a full-blown spreadsheet where I tracked the sizes they come in, the price, different color options, and where you can buy them. I narrowed my search to my top 8 brands and I ordered them. Well, they've all arrived in the mail now, and I am excited to see if I can find the best edible gold paint. But before I show you my findings, I wanted to remind you that if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. So I've known for a while that the gold that I use isn't technically edible. It's made for display items, which I make a lot of display things or things for videos, so I like to use that gold because it's really metallic. But I figured it would be nice to just find a gold that's edible so that I can put it on anything without having to dodge it in case someone eats it. In my search, I realized how many people are actually using the inedible paints on a lot of things that you would eat. While watching YouTube videos and reading Amazon reviews, I saw so many paints that say inedible, non-toxic, or for decoration only that people were using on things you would definitely eat, like chocolate strawberries or royal icing cookies, when really those paints are made more for like modeling chocolate figurines, other decorations that you would take off like gum paste, flowers, or figures and stuff like that. So, as well as finding the best edible gold paint, I guess this video is a little bit educational, that you should definitely look at your container and make sure it says edible if you are serving it to people for eating. If you see something like inedible, non-toxic, for decoration only, that's a good clue that you shouldn't use it on something that someone will be eating. I would only trust the brands that clearly say on the label edible or FDA approved. Here are some of the popular powders that I found that are not edible, and I wanted to share them with you just in case you didn't already know. CK Products, Creative Cake Decorating, Luxe Cake, Oasis Supply, Oh Sweet Art, Pastry Ideal, and Sunflower Sugar Art. And Pastry Ideal is the one that I've used in the past because it is so metallic. But turns out it says right on it, inedible. Confusing though, because it's made by a brand called Pastry Ideal. Anyway, I'm not sure how bad these non-toxic powders are for you. I've definitely consumed some in the past. But if there are edible ones that work pretty well, I figured I should be using those instead. So here are my top 8 brands that I'm going to be testing out today. Now, my personal judging criteria is going to be on smoothness and coverage, but also how metallic it is. It needs to be metallic, really shiny, and not so much glittery. And I'm going to be testing each paint on both dark chocolate and fondant because those are the 2 things that I paint the most. And to mix the paints, I like to use lemon extract. All right, first up is Bakell, if that's how you say that brand. They offer lots of colors, including multiple shades of gold. I bought the color Super Gold Luster Dust. You can order this on the brand's website or on Amazon. In their description, they explain what luster dust is, and they emphasize how edible it is a lot. They also have this helpful diagram that shows that their dust is FDA registered and kosher. They also had on their website this helpful page with definitions explaining the labels you may see on other luster dusts. Basically, you want to make sure the label specifically says edible on it, not just non-toxic. Now, let's see how this one looks. Ooh, Okay, so this one dusts on really well, looks really nice and sparkly, and it also looks really shiny. It's a little streaky when painted on chocolate, which is normal. This one's pretty yellow, so we'll see how it compares to the others. This one looks really pretty on the fondant. Nice and shiny. The color's nice. I feel it looks a little less yellow on the fondant than it did on the chocolate. That's why it's nice to try both, because colors will look different on a different color background. It looks like it builds pretty nicely without wiping off what was already there. So yeah, we're off to a good start. Next up is Fancy Sprinkles. They offer one shade of gold, silver, and rose gold. This is their gold luster powder. It even says 24 karat gold on it. This one is ordered only on their website, and as you can see right here, assures us that it is FDA approved and 100% edible. Let's see. Oh, this definitely clumps up like 24 karat gold. That's interesting. See the flakes on the plate? But it dusts on really nice. It looks a lot like the first one. Ooh, paints on really good. It has kind of the same color as the last one. It's a little bit yellowy. Still pretty. I mean, these first two look very similar. They're like almost the exact same. I don't know that you'd really, wow, be able to tell the difference. They both work really nice. Nice and sparkly. Nice and shiny. But this kind of is how it goes with the edible paints versus some of the inedible true metallic ones. They're a little bit more glittery than shiny, like metal, you know? So I don't think I'm going to be able to find a perfect replacement for the one that I love that looks really like metallic gold, but at least I can find something to replace it with that is actually edible. Yep, these are both really great. They really look really the same. The next one is a random brand that I found on Amazon. The seller name is Home Here, but in the description, the actual brand of the dust is PCB. I've never heard of that, so I did some research. It looks like it's a French pastry brand, and the Amazon description and other places online do say that this is edible powder, but it doesn't say so on the label. So I don't know why they don't put it on the label. It would be helpful, but on the label it does say it's made for chocolate and stuff, so chocolate you're usually eating, so I'm gonna trust it. They offer one shade of gold, silver, pearl, and a couple other colors. Here is their gold bottle, which isn't very branded, as you can see. And here is the listing on Amazon, and in the description, it does say food grade. Ooh, this one looks really gold right from the start. Yeah, this dusts on really well. Very nice gold. Dusting on chocolate almost works better than painting, but sometimes you need to paint it. Just depends on what look you're going for. Ooh, really like that one. Of course, it's the one that's questionable as to whether it's edible. Figures I'd like that one. All right, I got high hopes for this one on the fondant. It looked so good on the chocolate. mean, same color as the last two, as you can see. It's just, ooh, it's a little bit thicker or something. Like just has a little bit more goldy to it than, you know, not quite as dull. And the other ones are definitely shiny, but this one is like, I don't know, something about it. It's like really good coverage. It's like really, one coat is enough. All right, next up is Pristine Powders. They offer lots of different colors, including multiple shades of gold. I bought two. One is called Ice Gold and one is called King's Gold. You can buy this one on a website called Cake Connection, and you can see here in the description, it does say edible FDA approved. Okay, so this one is the Ice Gold first. This is going to be interesting because it's a different, trying to get those extra little crumbs from the last color off of that one. This one is clearly a different color. It's way less yellow. So it's going to look different than the last three. Now it's not dusting on that great, but maybe I'm looking at it from the wrong angle. There's not light shining it where I'm looking. It's looking kind of, Let's try the paint. Yeah, definitely less yellow. Wonder why they named this one Ice Gold. This doesn't really strike me as very icy looking. But to me, this has like a more gold color, but then it kind of looks brown. I don't know. Probably not my favorite, but paints on pretty well. Very excited to see how this one paints on fondant, how the color looks. I actually like the color of it, but yeah, a little streakier than the other ones I've tried so far on the fondant. It doesn't go on as thick, and you can see the brush strokes, and you can see the fondant through it easier. It looks like it builds fairly well, but it looks pretty dull compared to the last one right next to it. Yeah, well, there's that one. So this one's called King's Gold. Try dusting it on. This brand doesn't seem as good when you dust it for some reason. It's very light and feels like it doesn't get really shiny like I want it to. They feel a bit dull, duller than the last three brands. Yeah, this one doesn't look as shiny either. Yeah, just doesn't look quite as metallic as I'd want it to be. Okay, I'm curious to see if this shade is as dull as the last one. I mean, look at that compared to the others. That is just really quite dull. Okay, so same thing, I mean, same brand, same thing. It's not as thick when you first put it on, but it does build okay. But really, it is just not very shiny. It's really just not very shiny as the others. Wah wah. Next is a brand called Roxy Rich. They have so many different colors on their website, but you can't actually order from their website. You have to find a location that carries them. I did end up finding them on Amazon, and they offer 1 silver and 1 gold. And here is their dark gold. This is the listing on their website where you can see this is edible, plus some other things like gluten-free and vegan. Their Amazon listing also gives some info on this being edible. So this shade is called dark gold, and it's definitely looking a little more green than yellow. It does on well, has good coverage. I like the color. It looks gold to me and less yellow. But the paint definitely has a green tint to it. Maybe it's just compared to the other ones because they're very yellow looking. Ooh, paint's on really nice. Not sure if I love the color, but it definitely paints on well. Definitely very green looking. Also, this powder, you know, all the powders work different, but this one isn't holding the lemon as well. You can see some of the color and just the lemon extract are like seeping off the edge and leaving a streak, which isn't good. It's like bleeding. Wow, this one's kind of like these two. It's not, you know, metallics are supposed to be shiny. It's very dull. It just looks like mud, kind of. Green mud, like swamp. Swamp. Never mind, don't like you very much. I had high hopes for that Roxy Rich. Definitely doesn't look very rich. Next is a brand by Sweet Sticks called Edible Art. They offer lots of different colors and they also come in a couple different forms. They have loose powders and they also have liquid forms and a paint palette. So I bought a couple different ones to try. I bought the Antique Gold Decorative Paint and I also bought the Metallic Palette. I couldn't resist. It gives me the opportunity to try more of their colors. You can buy this brand lots of different places, including their own website and on Amazon. All right, well, I can't dust this one on because it's a liquid, so I'm just going to paint this one. And because it's antique gold, it's going to probably have a similar color to the last one. Oh, I think this is water-based, so I don't know if that is why it's balling up. But it looks cool. Yep. So this liquid one, not gonna work for chocolate. I just want to keep doing this because it looks cool. Look how cool that looks. Okay, well, there's our answer on that one. Doesn't work for chocolate. And with this one, I'm just looking for how well it paints because they have so many different colors of gold that if I like the way it shines and the way it paints on, then if I don't like this color, you know, can always get a different color. This one looks even more green than the last. This one makes that one look gold, which is kind of funny, but that's because this one is antique. So that makes sense. Okay, actually I really like it, how it ended up painting on. It's not streaky, it has good coverage, and actually the fact that it stays a little wetter allows me to go back over it and blend it like this. Okay, I'm really excited to try these ones. This says water activated food paint. I know it's made to use with water, but I'm going to use lemon extract because that's what I always use. And I want to compare them to, but maybe lemon extract doesn't work with it. Maybe I have to use water because it's not doing anything. Okay, maybe I should read the instructions real quick. Now I'm wondering, because I have to use water with these, and this is the same brand as the last one, if they're not going to work on the chocolate. I guess we'll know with this first one. If the first one doesn't work, well then, the rest of the 4 aren't gonna work. Oh my gosh, no, it's not gonna work, is it? I don't mind this look though, it's kind of cool on chocolate. This is a pretty gold. I mean, it's just kind of fun to have a little palette. This probably is made a little more for smaller surfaces than this little circle slice I've got, but but it's really hard to keep the consistency. I'm kind of wishing I would have bought one of their powders, their loose powders, to see how it compares. It's just at the time things were getting a little out of hand with how many gold luster dusts I was buying, so I wanted to narrow it down, and I figured these would work the same as the as the loose powders. You know, I might be wrong. This is very, ew, it feels almost gummy. Okay, what to do now? Do I let it dry? Did it need to be more liquid? It's just like really thick, and then when I paint over it, it just like mushes together. I feel like I'm not giving them a fair chance with this unless I try out a loose powder, but the sad truth is I don't have one. Ew, this water is probably mixing with the fondant and becoming gummy. I'm going to call that one good. On the next 4, I'm going to just maybe paint a smaller area. I mean, see how I'm just doing one stroke? By the end of it, it starts to separate like it did on the chocolate. I mean, it's definitely working when it's like one swipe like this. And I mean, it does say for the finer details, so I'm probably using it wrong. Let's try the brush it came with. It looks pretty. It's shiny, looks good. So maybe you just pick the color you like and then buy the liquid form. Maybe that's the key. It's probably great for just painting little details on fondant figurines or royal icing cookies and stuff. I bet it works really great for that. But really, I'm looking for an all-around gold that I can use on everything. That's kind of the point of this hunt, you know? I want to be able to use it on chocolate, fondant, modeling chocolate, royal icing, anything. And I want it to be edible. And I can't use this on chocolate, we've learned, so a little disappointing. Moving on to the next color. Well, the good news is this palette definitely works for what it was intended for. Fine details, you know? So if you use gold mostly for small, finer things, not on chocolate, I would recommend this palette, especially because you would be able to choose from multiple colors. The colors are nice, but the paints are drying up really quickly, which is really annoying because I feel like you have to mix them with the big brush, but then you need to paint with the smaller brush. And it's like, who's got time for that? I barely have time to like paint a pattern before the palette goes dry. Now this one's actually bronze, but I'm just going to test it anyway. And to be honest, I'm kind of glad it's the last one. I'm kind of bored of this palette. Oh, it's kind of reddish. Interesting. I do like this brush. It's very comfortable to hold. It's working really nice, but other than the fact that it keeps drying out, it's a nice color. All right, the last brand I'm going to try is called The Sugar Art. They offer lots of different colors, including lots of different matte colors, which is helpful. I bought 2 shades of powder, the Antique Gold and then one called Wedding Gold. This is available on their website, but as of this moment, not on Amazon. Amazon has their glitter called Diamond Dust, but not their Pearl Dust. Now, let's see how this last brand compares. Okay, so I'll try the Wedding Gold first. Try dusting some on. Not crazy coverage, but it has a pretty sparkle, but I like a nice coverage that once you get dust in it, it gets really shiny. See how the paint goes. The color is a little different than the rest of them. This one is a little more orange than some of the others. Paint's on nice. Not as sparkly, not as metallic. It's a really pretty color. I like this color. And it stays wet long enough for me to fix my lines, which is nice. Oh, it goes on really smoothly and really doesn't leave streaks. Has good coverage and it's a really nice color. It seems like it dries a little dull though, like some of these other ones. Cal, these three are just shining over here and the other ones are just like meh. Try dusting it. Yeah, I like a powder that builds when you dust it, that it just gets like darker and darker and really metallic and shiny. The more you brush it, the more metallic it gets, but that's not really how this one's working. It's really quite dull. Interesting color. Doesn't look too gold to me. I don't think people would really think this is gold, but not impressed. What is this? I don't love it. Okay. I mean, I really like this paint. It paints on really nice, but it's so dull. This is definitely not the right color. I don't love this color, but the paint goes on nice, but it's like you can tell it's supposed to be luster, but yet it still dries matte, even though it's supposed to be luster dust. Very confusing. I see a clear winner. Okay, it would just not be fair to make a final decision before comparing it to the golden standard of 24 karat gold leaf. Edible, of course. I'm going to place a little piece right here and see how close we got. Okay. The color on these two is really close, and the shine. But I like that test. I think that is very helpful. Now, before I tell you which one is my favorite, I'm curious to know which one is yours. So write it down in the comments below. So I'm thinking that you guys can already probably guess my favorite or favorites by my reaction while I was painting, but I'm still going to give you my thoughts. So before we did the 24 karat gold edible gold leaf test, this one was my favorite. The PCB brand, the French pastry brand. And the one that we're not sure is edible, but I am pretty sure it is. It says French imported PCB chocolate powder. You wouldn't put this on chocolate if it wasn't edible. That doesn't make sense because chocolate you're always eating. I am. French surface, macaroons, drinks, etc. Okay, you wouldn't put this in a drink if you're not gonna drink it. Who puts a drink on display? I don't know. Anyway. Point is, this was my favorite before we did the edible gold leaf test because it's so shiny. It's so shiny compared to some of the others, and it has the most color. I like that it has really good bright color. Sorry, I should point to it. It's this one. Well, you could probably already tell because it's the prettiest one on there. But when we did the gold leaf test, I found that these two tied. The Bakell and the Fancy Sprinkles. They matched the gold leaf in color better, but they're not as like shiny. So here's what I've decided. In the future, if I'm doing a project where I'll be mixing some edible powders with gold leaf, I'll probably use one of these ones. But if I'm using just the gold paint to paint something, I'll probably use PCB because on its own, it's very, very nice. I'm very curious if you guys agreed with me. So these are the top 3. And it's funny because they were the first 3 that I did. They just look so much better than the rest. And then this one, the liquid paint, when you touch it, it can smear. So I don't like that. These ones are weird. They look like they're wet still. The ones from the palette, they look like they're wet still, but they're totally dry and they don't smudge, which is really cool. Anyway, none of them are perfect. None of them match the 24 karat perfect, but they're pretty. I feel satisfied with my research. And I feel happy that I have a new replacement for the pastry ideal. Although I will admit, if I'm making something for display, I'm probably still going to use this one because it's just, it looks like liquid gold. It's just so, have I said enough? It's so good and metallic. Okay, moving on. All right, guys. Now it's time for a bonus round because when I was shopping online for gold paints, you know I couldn't resist buying a couple silver as well. So I'm gonna try out some silver paints. I also bought 2 colors just for fun because they look pretty. I'm very interested to see if the best silver brand ends up matching what I think is the best gold brand. So here is what I bought. Bakell New Silver, Fancy Sprinkles Sterling Silver, PCB Silver, Pristine Powders Shiny Silver, Sweet Sticks Light Silver, Silver and Gunmetal Gray, the Sugar Art New Silver, and just for fun, the Sugar Art Mermaid and Sugar Plum. And now it's time for the true test for the silver. Edible silver leaf, right in the middle. Which one matches the best? Obviously not the colors. None. None even compare. Oh, silver leaf is just too pretty for these luster dusts. All right, so just like the gold, I want to know what ones you guys think are the best. Comment them down below. And here are my top 2. Fancy Sprinkles and PCB. So they do. The 2 brands I think are best in silver also are the 2 out of 3 of the brands I think are best in gold. So that's interesting. Must just be good brands. Yeah, turns out silver's even harder than gold. But like they're just, you can just tell they're a luster dust and that they're not like metallic. But like the gold, it's good to have an edible replacement for when you're actually making goodies that are consumed. Wow, okay. I am glad that all the researching and testing is done and that I have a couple new brands of edible paints that I can start to use. If there are any other great ones that I missed, definitely be sure to comment them down below. I would love any recommendations that you guys have. If you found this video helpful, please let me know by liking it. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, today's the day. If you'd like to see something else that's sweet, just click on one of these thumbnails. Thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in 1 week. Bye.